monks who dug this ditch over 800 years ago to drain the neighbouring marshland would be astonished to see what is being built over it today. The Spencer Steelworks of the Richard Thomas and Baldwin Limited will be one of the largest in Wales, and 1 year's work of basic structure has already been completed. 83,000 piles will eventually support the heavy plant above the marsh. There, for instance, is the base of a blast furnace with its attendant stoves. Today, the builders are not only draining the marsh, but filling it in as well. It is estimated that some 7.5 million tons of fill is being moved in, dumped, and leveled. To do this, a huge fleet of lorries doing shuttle service are making around 5,000 trips every day. The aim is to provide a firm foundation for the roads and light buildings which will surround the main steelworks. From this angle, the depth of the fill above the marsh is easily seen. Heavy concrete channels will form part of a modern drainage system. But the workmen today still have something in common with the monks of old, with their picks and shovels. The stockpile of sand and ballast on the right feeds one of the batching towers where the concrete is being mixed. From here it is taken by truck to the construction site, along a roadway still being graded. This hard rock core has had to be quarried and transported from a location many miles away. Accurate surveying is essential on a site that stretches over 3.5 miles, and obviously a bird's eye view is the best way of encompassing the whole project. The first buildings are the temporary office blocks. Temporary, although they may be used for 10 years or more. Most of this wide open space is reserved for the coal and ore stockyards. One of the advantages of the Spencer work site is the proximity of the London to Cardiff railway line, which runs parallel to the works. The electricity grid also passes close by. The silver and black buildings in the centre are coke ovens, and those in front are temporary fire brick stores. The site continues over the centre plant space, coming to Monk's Ditch, which has had to be rerouted to fit with site planning. In the middle distance, a towering crane works on number 1 blast furnace foundation, and behind that is the jungle of the steelworks construction. We are now moving over what will be the steel-making plant, beyond which piling for the hot mill is already down. Nearby, piling for the coal strip mill is equally advanced. The stretch of water in the background is, of course, the Severn Estuary. The site runs out over more storage space and ends at the service road, which runs round 3 sides of the area. Meanwhile, some 4 miles away, 100 million gallons capacity reservoir is being excavated at Waltwood Hill. This man-made lake will feed the unslakable thirst of the steelworks, which will consume millions of gallons every day. For instance, each time a batch of coke is quenched, 25 tons of water go up in steam. Again, an army of earth movers is required to tackle this part of the project. From above, the extent of the dimple can clearly be seen. Here are the 4 batches of coke ovens. The bricking for the first is in progress. The steel structure for the second is being erected, and these are the foundations for the third and fourth. A closer look at the fourth reveals the strength of the heavy supporting pillars which go straight through the marsh to the rock bed, sometimes more than 35 feet below. The foundations have a curiously classical appearance at this stage. Under a temporary roof, work proceeds amongst the fire bricks. Coke oven linings must be kept bone dry while being installed. The steel structure for the next battery is almost completed. On the left is the main storage bunker. The number 1 blast furnace will be supported by 6 steel legs. The blast stoves are progressing close by. A highly skilled team operate the pile drivers, which are sinking a forest of longer piles where the marsh is very deep. A hollow sheet metal tube is fitted over a rigid core. Then a steam hammer drives both the tube and the core into the ground. The core is then removed, leaving the tube embedded. The tube left above the ground is cut off at a standard height. The concrete filling, when set, will form the load-carrying pile. Finally, the concrete pillars are topped off with reinforcing rods which will connect with the concrete footings to be constructed above. An aerial view gives an idea of the size and number of the huge pillars needed to support the hot strip mill. Underneath the mill floor, there will be convenient space for power rooms and stores. These pillars must take the tremendous weight of the works floor and its machinery. We leave the site with a final view of the basic structure of the steel plant. Already a giant at the end of its first year.